think kindly of Richard III, we can think of him as many things. As a husband, as a father, as a son, and as a brother. And we often think of him as just a man of his times too. But this, I think, is perhaps deceptive. Many of those who made their way to Bosworth Field on the morning of the 22nd of October 1485 had little or no choice in the matter. But some of those who came did have a choice. And so it's worth considering what it was that they came to fight for. They could choose to fight for their king, certainly, but they could also choose to fight for what he represented. And one of the pillars of Richard's public life throughout his time as Duke of Gloucester, which continues into his time as king, was a devotion to equitable justice that spanned across the social ladders. We have the names of those who owe Richard their thanks recorded in the legal cases from his time as Duke of Gloucester. Catherine Williamson, whose husband was brutally murdered on his way home from work, and who turned to Richard to help her find justice. John and Lucy Prince, who regained their manor from raiders thanks to Richard's intervention. John Ranson, whose land was taken from him by a local knight, who expected to be protected by Richard. And it's perhaps telling that a lowly husbandman like John Ranson felt able to turn to the mighty Duke of Gloucester in 1480 to ask for and to receive his impartial justice. This interest continued into Richard's time as king. His only parliament in 1484 is noted for its good and worthy laws. From changes to the system of bail to ensure that it was freely available to everybody, irrespective of whether they could afford to buy justice. To reforms of the jury system to prevent juries from being bribed and corrupted, so that justice in Richard's courts could no longer be bought and sold. Reforms of land law to prevent people falling prey to cheats and fraudsters. Reforms of weights and measures to give merchants a level playing field and all of their consumers a certainty at law that they had lacked before. This and numerous other acts long held as worthy. It's easy to see who benefits from Richard's policies: the powerless, the poor, the unrepresented. And it's also clear to see who is threatened by them: the powerful, the wealthy, and those who thrive on corruption. The story of Richard as a man is a complex one, but it was brought to a violent end in these fields 536 years ago today. The story of Richard as a king, as a leader that people were willing to follow to their deaths, and as a social reformer, was also brought to an abrupt end on that same day. I'm frequently asked what it is that Ricardians see in the story of Richard III, and my short answer is hope, albeit a lost hope, and a man who has been maligned by history for hundreds of years for daring to offer it to a nation.